Hello everybody, it's Rhian here from Not Just Facts. Now this week I want to talk to you about having pins and needles in your hands. Now this is a really big topic, so I'll only be covering a minute part of it today, and then we'll probably carry on another time. So let me just share the screen with my little presentation, as I've got several slides to show you. So let's move on to our first slide. Now I'm not putting it into the PowerPoint view, so I have the little pointer ready to show you things, because some of them, well, I find exciting, so hopefully you might find interesting too. So pins and needles in the hands. Now I'm going to start off with talking about them coming from the neck, because pins and needles can come from the neck, they can come from this sort of area, the shoulder girdle area, they can come from the elbow, and you can get carpal tunnel in your wrist. So we're just going to start off with the neck just today. So here's our neck, and let's just do an anatomy recap for you. So these things are our vertebrae in our neck down here, and the little bits in between are our discs. These are just the spinous processes that you can feel, the knobbly bits. They attach to the ligaments and things to at the back. And then the little holes here are where the spinal nerves come out. Like we spoke about when we were talking about sciatica, it's obviously a very similar thing, but obviously in the neck. Now our neck has lots of functions. Obviously it stores our windpipe and our food pipe, which has some protection, obviously, as it comes down into our chest. It also stores the connections up the spinal nerve, the spinal column, sorry, spinal cord even, up to our head. And it allows us to look all over the place so that we can see who's coming behind us and things like that. It gives us really good range of movement. So it's different to our lumbar spine, and the vertebrae even look different to the lumbar spine. So why do we get pins and needles down our arms coming from our neck? Well, it's all to do with the nerves that come out of these little holes. So if we move on to where we were in utero and the development of an adult, and what happens is, so this is the fetus, and as you can see, it's 7 weeks, so not very old at all. And our spinal cord obviously develops. So this is it. We have our brain, there's our eye at the top, and then it comes down into the spinal cord all the way around. Now you can see here are some of our cervical nerves coming out into this sort of flipper-like thing. Well, this is our arm. So basically, our arm buds come out and grow out and drag the nerves with it. Very exciting, so clever, so clever. So basically the nerves that come out of our neck then come down into our arms. And they create, so for us as practitioners, we're trying to work out when you come along with all your different symptoms of pain and pins and needles and numbness that you get, we then try and work out where it's coming from. And we have some maps that we had to learn when we were at osteopathic school. And some of these are them. So this is a dermatome map. And so each vertebrae, let's go back to this one, has a level. So 1 at the top, so 1 to 7. And then each spinal nerve has a number 2. So as you can see, from C5 to T1, so the lower part of the neck, those nerve roots come out and supply the arms. Interestingly, I divert about pins and needles, but you can see that obviously people can get headaches. Let's move this out over the way. C2, you see, that can give you a headache at the top, or a pain at the top. C3 around the ear. So there's different areas that cause different types of pain. But that's by the by, and that's perhaps another day when we talk about headaches. So let's have a look at the nerve. So this is our nerve, and you see the little red lines, they're the blood supply to our nerves. And nerves are highly perfused with blood. They need a lot of blood to keep healthy. And when that blood starts to get starved, that's when we start getting problems like pins and needles, numbness. If it gets too bad, then you get motor loss as well. So you might not be able to move your muscles in a certain way in your upper arm, and or you get weak. You know, you can't sort of use your arm properly. So nerves, you can see, I mean, it's quite an intricate supply, isn't it? And the reason why this is so that it allows you to do all this with your neck and you know, play tennis and play rugby and try and get away with lots of things that might actually end up damaging our neck. So it has to be very mobile, all this system. So it can't be straight or rigid. So it's quite windy and twisty. But what nerves don't like is being compressed by something, so squeezed, or being stretched. So like being pulled, your arm being pulled away from your neck. And that's when you start getting problems. So one of the most common things we see is a trapped nerve in the neck. Now this generally happens to people who are more mature, so 40 pluses. So the older you get, the more likely you will get a trapped nerve. And this is because, which I've said before in other blogs, is that our vertebral bodies, as they get older, they get closer together, the disc gets more degenerative, and the exit to the hole gets smaller. I've got some great images of X-rays to show you of that in a minute, so they're quite exciting, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy seeing those too. So they get smaller, so you can then cause a compression on the nerve, either by inflammation or by bony compression from wear and tear around where that nerve exits. And then the other thing, so here, like we did with sciatica, you can have a disc issue as well. They're sort of less common in the neck than they are in the lower back. Obviously they are around and people have them, but in our practice we tend to see less degenerative problems, discal problems, and we see more degenerative issues causing the trapped nerve. This MRI scan just shows you that discal problem bulging out, and this is the spinal cord, and it's bulging into the spinal cord. So there's the mouth, just to orientate you there. But I don't really want to talk about discs, so we've done that before. So let's just go to the X-ray. So here, this side is our lovely, healthy X-ray. Nice big disc spaces between the vertebrae here. And you can see where the nerve exits. Look at those, they're lovely holes, nice patent black holes. So they then won't give you trapped nerves because they're lovely, and unless you have like quite a serious injury, you then can really stretch your nerves and cause problems. Some babies can come out with nerve injuries because their head has been and their shoulder have been stretched apart, and they can get little palsies if they've had quite a bad delivery. So this side, here we go, we've got an older neck. So this shows us, see this is an osteophyte. So this is where the disc has lost its height and the bones are wearing. And there's bits at the back here as well. And this level. And look what's happened to, so there we go, there's that one there. There's no hole there. So this person will be quite prone to having a trapped nerve. And so when we get trapped nerves, obviously you get pain in the neck, you can't turn your neck very well. It's agony at night generally. There's lots of, you get pins and needles in the specific distribution. So that map I showed you, there's specific distributions that will tell us which level this nerve issue is. And more commonly, as you can see, it's in the lower part of the neck. So C5, C6, C6, C7 will give you most problems because they tend to do the most sort of flexion and extension movements in the spine. So for those people who do a lot of desk work or computer work and they're looking down a lot, or like me as an osteopath, I'm always bending over forward looking down at somebody. It doesn't do our neck any good. And it will make you more prone to having problems later on in life. So really think about your ergonomics of your desk, so that you're either on a standing desk, so you can go up and stand up and be looking straight into your computer, or you're sitting down nice squarely, so you're eye level with your computer screen, rather than this sort of looking down laptop, really poor posture, scrunching in, because it doesn't like it. So let's look at some neck movements. Here we go. So this is extension. So this is looking up to the ceiling. Now, can you see what's happening? So here we go. Here's our vertebrae. These are our facets, these little loopy things, which are the joints. And so our holes of our nerves get all squished up. So if you have a trapped nerve, you do not look up, because that will squash the hole even more and make your pain a lot worse. But the equivalent of looking up is bending forwards to pick something up off the floor, because your neck will naturally go into an extension position. So you really want to avoid that. Make sure you bend your knees and keep your chin tucked in if you have trapped nerves in your neck. So let's look at flexion now. So flexion is bending forwards. Now, as you can see, this opens up the spaces between the vertebrae. So it actually gives the nerve foramina more room. So the nerve then gets less impinged. So just tucking our chin and looking forwards, if you have a neck trapped nerve, is a good thing. So in bed at night, because that's a time when you can trap nerves quite easily in bed at night, but if your pillow setup's not right, because you end up in a funny old position, maybe neck over the back, or you're on your tummy and you're all like this and you're scrunching up this part of your neck, so you wake up with all this horrible sensation in the morning. That's really common, how to trap a nerve. So in bed at night, going back, you have a couple of pillows and you lay on your back with a couple of pillows, and it will just push your head slightly forward and it will open up that space, because it's always nighttime with trapped nerves that are awful times. So you probably need some drugs from your doctor to help with inflammation and pain, because obviously a lot of the nerve pain, a lot of the drugs don't touch, so you'll need to see your GP if you're in a lot of pain in your arm as well. So that's the start of pins and needles in our hands. I will carry on, because there is another area in our neck and shoulders that also causes pins and needles in our hands, but we'll cover that next time. So I hope you've enjoyed today, learning a little bit more about how we get pins and needles, or why we get pins and needles, and I look forward to seeing you next time. So nice to see you. I'm just going to take us off the screen. There we go. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.